Hello everyone and welcome to me, Audrina Lane, and chapter 18 of Where Did Your Heart Go? So we'll get started, I think. Charlotte put the diary aside and turned on her iPad to check Facebook and to download her clip from the dance finals for Mitch to see. It was a lovely surprise to find a message already waiting for her, along with a clip of their dance routine to Skyfall and the comment, "Nice legs." She responded with a comment on her routine saying, "Nice ass," and a smiley face. Almost immediately a response came back asking if she could talk if he gave her a call on her mobile number. Lying back against her pillows, Charlotte took a deep breath and then typed yes and waited for her phone to ring. "Hi Charlie." "Hi Mitch. So did you get the chance to speak to your mum yet about us meeting?" "Yes," and she said yes, but she's going to come up to Birmingham for the day with my Aunt Sarah. She says she wants to meet you. "Okay, I can go with that," he replied, "if it means I get to spend the rest of the day alone with you." "Yes, my mum's cool. I've told her not to embarrass me when she meets you." "Well, if she's half as nice as you, it won't be too bad." "Does she work?" "Yeah, she's a DJ for a local radio station." "Oh wow, that's cool." "Yeah, cool if you like old music," Charlotte replied, laughing and settling into the conversation, and feeling like she'd known Mitch for a lot longer than a few weeks. He was so easy to talk to, and he listened instead of just talking about himself. "So what about your dad?" "My dad died when I was 3 months old, so I never really knew him." "Oh, that's awful. So no stepdad then?" "No. My mum hasn't even been on a date as far as I can remember. I think she misses my dad too much. He was a doctor and he got stabbed in the car park at the end of his shift. Drug addict or something. It must have been awful for her." "Gosh, that's one hell of a thing to have to go through. I know my dad comes home from work sometimes and can hardly speak after some of the fires he's attended. He's a fireman." "Oh, that's a cool job too," Charlotte replied. "So how about next weekend?" Mitch said. "I'll ask Mum later and drop you a text if that's okay." "Sure, hope it will be, as I can't wait to see you again. You looked fabulous in those tight dance pants you wore for Skyfall." It was a good job Mitch couldn't see the blush that was spreading over her cheeks. "Thanks," she mumbled, suddenly shy at the compliment. "I've got to go now, but we'll look forward to your text later. I hope we can get together," he replied. "Catch you later then, Mitch." "Later, Charlie," he replied, and then the line went dead. She couldn't believe the grin that spread over her face. He was so nice and gorgeous, and seemed to think she was too. Today had been a very good day. Luckily her mum had already spoken to Aunt Sarah, so by the time Charlotte headed up to bed, she was able to tell Mitch yes for next Saturday. She had a week to prepare, and of course shop, and get her hair cut, and lots of other things she knew she would need to do to prepare for this meeting with her future, her destiny if she was lucky. Monday dawned and Charlotte couldn't wait to tell Julia about her weekend and the phone call from Mitch and the date next Saturday. As I watched my daughter with a new swing in her step, I wondered where this next step in her life would lead. I hoped that he was a nice lad and that he would treat her with respect, being a few years older than her. I was looking forward to a day of shopping, lunch and perhaps a film with Sarah in Birmingham next Saturday. In the meantime, work and chores were on the day's agenda. When Charlotte returned home, she rushed through the house like a whirlwind. "What's wrong?" I asked. "We need a song from the 80s to dance to, as the stipulation for the grand finals in London is that on Saturday we dance our 2 previous dances, and then on Sunday morning we dance the new one. But to make it easier for the judges, we have to choose music from the 80s. So any chance we can go through your collection?" "Yes, I'm sure I can help you with this. My dance teacher thought you might be able to come up with a couple of suggestions that I can go along with me to practice on Thursday." "Well, I guess we'd better get started," I said, looking forward to an evening of reminiscence. "Do you want something fast or slow?" I asked, as we both sat cross-legged on the floor in front of my record collection. "Slow is generally better for us, but I don't really mind," Charlotte replied. Eventually we had a choice of 4 different songs: Hunting High and Low by a-ha, Billie Jean by Michael Jackson, I Want to Dance with Somebody by Whitney Houston, and Take My Breath Away by Berlin. Strangely, out of the 4 songs, Charlie liked Take My Breath Away the most. She looked up the video on YouTube and I could see that she was taken in by the strong images of the woman with her singed black-tipped hair as she stood on the broken fuselage of the planes. "This song is from the film you and James liked." Yes, it is. Reminds me of our time together, I replied. You really loved him, didn't you, Mum? Yes. You never forget your first love, I responded. He will always have a special place in my heart. Do you have a copy of the film? I'd kind of like to watch it with you, she asked. Yeah, I think so, I replied, but I'll have to go and look for it. OK, Mum, I'll go and put some popcorn in the microwave then. She jumped up from the floor and headed to the kitchen. When she returned, I placed the DVD into the machine and we settled back. Charlie stretched out on the sofa and I took the armchair. This was going to be hard. I always cried when I watched this film. As it started and the plane streaked across the screen, I closed my eyes and I was back to being young all over again. Charlotte was soon sucked into the story of Maverick, Goose and the gang. Mum, did you name me after Charlie in the film? She asked. Sort of. At the time I hadn't realised that I had, but me and your dad both liked the name, Charlotte, I replied. As the love scene between Charlie and Maverick filled the screen, I excused myself and went to the kitchen to make drinks, but in reality I couldn't bear to feel the emotions spilling over as I remembered. I leaned against the island unit as the tears spilled down my cheeks. It was hard to lie to Charlotte about my true feelings for her dad. Yes, I had loved him, but more as a friend than as a lover. He had never filled the gap that James had left. He had never unlocked my heart as James still held the key. I reached for some kitchen roll and wiped my eyes. When the credits rolled at the end, I watched as Charlotte looked over to me. Great film, she replied. I think our group should definitely choose that song. I think we can come up with something spectacular. Well, I'll look forward to the final even more if you do this song. It would make me proud. She walked over to me and gave me a hug. Do you miss Dad? Yes, he would have been so proud of you. You were his princess. I wish I'd known him, she sniffed, wiping tears from her eyes, partly from the film, but partly from not knowing or having a father in her life. He would have made a fantastic dad to you, I replied, giving her a tissue, and also wiping my eyes too. The emotions of the evening were almost too much to handle. As we both went up to bed, Charlotte turned to me. Thanks, Mum. What for? Everything. You're the best. Then I watched her shut the door of her room. Night, sweetheart, I said, as I headed for my own bed and my own memories. That night I dreamt about how I'd first met Mark at the hospital, and then when we had become a couple. It struck me that I hadn't really felt the same butterflies whenever we were together. I just felt safe and no longer alone. At the time I'd equated this with being how love was really meant to be when you were older, but in essence I knew that I'd never really loved him. He'd been a good friend who loved me no matter that my heart was sealed off for him. James would forever be my true love for the rest of my life. In her bedroom, Charlotte reached for the diary and read about the moment when her mum and James finally made love, the night of her end-of-the-year dance. Okay everyone, that's the end of chapter 18 for you. Hope you've enjoyed it once again. Love to hear any comments that you might have. So please feel free to find me on Facebook or tweet me on Twitter, and I always like to respond and friend people, so more the merrier, as they say. And if you do want to read ahead with this book, you can get it now for free directly from my website, which is www.audrinalane.co.uk. Also, the book is available on Amazon, but it won't be free there, so I'll let you decide which one you want. Anyway, please feel free, as always, to like, share and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I will catch you again for the next chapter. Bye for now.